got to be fucking kidding me. What did you soak my fucking tobacco in, you fucking pieces of shit? It don't even smell right when we fucking light it, man. There's something fucking wrong with this shit. How much fire and air does it need to stay burning? It's fucking paper. Its auto ignition point is below its fucking combustion. It's combustion point. These assholes are gonna tell me they didn't soak the cigarettes in fucking plastic. And why does this get? That's the 8th fucking time that stopped. Well, look here to here, and here, and here. I'm gonna do that 8 more times. No. At what point did my eye go all fucking googly and sideways, bro? Seriously, why do big tech companies get to work with fucking and get away with it? Remember, 84. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. We downloaded this song 2 hours ago, so it's not the internet involved in this music skipping. So 84 million incidents of, yeah. The title of the video you clicked on when you started this, bro. What the fuck are you doing? Wow. You're gonna prove. You're the good anti-drug racist pedophile, right? That's 6 times. Let's try that again. Just to prove, we downloaded this track 2 hours ago. It's streamed I keep trying to show me my eyes closed, dog. That's good. I'm looking directly at the screen. Why don't you mix in some AM static like you used to? Man, I'm down for some shit when it comes to the grind. Went to bar, with a fifth kind of shit on a peanut butter shit. I almost made it back to the crib, but it's back to the strip. With a track that hit, little nigga keep a hammer and a back full of shit. That little nigga just like runs runs. I used to have a lot of fun when I bust guns. Never did I trust love. I lost a lot of friends. My friends wish you the info got Percy. That's why I stay with a pistol. Stay by my hip too. Stay to the every 8 bars is normal. It's normal to skip every 8 bars. Right. So, again, this track was downloaded over 2 hours ago. It's completely self-contained. I can disconnect the internet and it will play. So what exactly code did YouTube let these assholes have? The instant I'm looking straight at the screen. I have no point on my eyes closing. That's like 5 times you've done that, bro. So why is YouTube giving them our IP addresses? I'm supposed to feel bad. They're watching me. Always watching me. I put up a big sign that says this video will be interrupted by a child molester pretending to be a hacker. Listen to it. Kick, 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 kick. I'm gonna just keep skipping it back till you get burnt out of your tunnel, bro. And I'll know you got burnt out of the tunnel when it stops doing that. Man, I'm down for some shit when it comes to the grind. Went to bars, with a fifth kind of on my shit, on a peanut butter.
It's skipping more now.
Little nigga keep a hammer and a pack full of shit. That little nigga just like runs runs. I used to have a lot of fun when I bust guns. Never did I trust love. I lost a lot of friends. Out of my friends switch to info got person. That's why I stay with a pistol. Stay by my hip too. Stay to the fix an issue. These dreams on me tips to get placed in a tissue. Deuce, bullet face, the nibble out the baby mine. I'm with the tech the same size as a baby gun. I ain't got a slide, my nigga. He got skated on. I was in his trip. It's the bed that his baby on. It's hurting like I need me a Tylenol. I may have missed, but you was.
There's nothing in this video except an angry, self-righteous child molester who's going to prove his point. What point are you going to prove, dog?
Man, I'm down for some shit. When it comes to the grind, went to bars, yeah, snap with a fat. Man, I'm back on my shit. Kind of peanut butter strap in the whip. Man, I almost made it back to the crib. But it's back to the strip. Where the trap got a flip. Little nigga keep a hammer and a pack full of shit. That little nigga just like runs runs. I used to have a lot of fun when I bust guns. Never did I trust. I lost a lot of friends. Out of my friends switch to info got person. That's why I stay with a pistol. Stay by my hip too. Stay to the fix an issue. These dreams on me tips to get placed in a tissue. Deuce, bullet face, the nibble out the baby mine. I'm with the tech the same size as a baby gun. I ain't got a slide, my nigga. He got skated on. I was in his trip. It's the bed that his baby on. It's hurting like I need me a Tylenol. I may have missed, but you pussies didn't right at all. I think I seen it. Big homie, get the lights off. Someone get the voice in the service. It's just the radar. Fucking fire. I'm so
not the local division, but whatever you want to call it, this is stop instantly. What? You keep closing the eyes closed thing. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean, but when I look directly at the screen, yeah, I can see my eyes, so I'm a little confused here. How I'm supposed to get confused and think I'm staring at myself with my eyes closed. Keep it up, bro. Keep it up. We're not friends. This is not some game I'm playing with you to see if we can get along. Everything I'm doing here, keep it up. Everything I'm doing here, keep it up. I still didn't close my eyes once looking at the camera, dog. So my entire goal here I looked here, closed my eyes, looked here, and watched my head tilt down, close, clamp my eyes shut, look up, and open again. What's your specialty, bro? What are you so angry about? Do you make fake kitty porn and you're getting upset that people keep accusing you of being a child molester? Why are you here, dumbass? It adds 20 fucking seconds to the track when you do that. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Remember, we heard this track all the way to the end twice in the last video. So no. Yep. Did we not do this already? Like, what's the issue here? What are you gonna prove, Tomo? Hey, every fucking. For some reason, nobody's blocking this asshole's IP address. You want to install something on somebody else's computers? Oh, is it a DDoS? Wow, I'm impressed. I'm so impressed that you figured out to use the machines I helped build. Everything you touch, we touch first. Yeah, except for the fact you touch people. Keep it up. Keep it up. Show the world how angry you are, righteous pedo. Show them. Show them. This is what happens if you say anything bad about raping children. You will be harassed non-stop every time you log into a big tech company's website. Every fucking time, apparently. No, I lied. Only Google. You hear this? In and out, in and out, in and out. I'm supposed to feel bad. I'm supposed to feel bad that I'm wasting a pedophile's time. I'm supposed to feel bad. I'm supposed to be harassed. I'm looking right at myself, dog. I'm not looking at you through the screen either, you fucking sociopath. Oh no, it's a girl's voice. Flip the fuck out. Flip the fuck out, quick. She's francophone too, right? I'm pretty sure.
Sex, money, and murder is what I fantasize.
She speaks English like I do, like she don't want to.
Sex, money, and murder is what I fantasize.
Yeah, call me frog, nigger, fuck shit, right?
Sex, money, and murder is what I fantasize.
Plenty promises and promises, no family ties. Beating court cases surround me like a gang of flies. I seen it done to keep it moving, only fantasize. About my equilibrium, I need to answer why. I need these banknotes and millions, and puzzles for my mini-men. To lay up in the B and see this D up in between my thighs. I fantasize about these angry guys. Killer fams, they never knew I wanna murder guys.
Whatever you did,
You an accident murderer, you wanna earn your vibes.
guaranteed.
Coming up off niggas moving all these hammers fly.
Know that, right? On the label, the shit you're spraying on the tobacco, it says
You
this
go
will
and
kill
then
the
they
person
shoot
you
you.
spray.
Understand my whys? I could still be on my hammer shit. No, but the MC in me burning like this cannabis. I'm paramount on A-list. Peep the fluctuate, the Sorrento. It's the only thing that's switching up. The game chill like mental. Yo, who are you? It's kinfolk. I've been broken, came up and lost that and still cope. You niggas joking, still broke. Bring my niggas in and out. I'm about to hit the books, I'm the accountant. Tunnel vision, Rook versus all them crooks, I am surrounded. Pretty like
At
the
some point,
pound
you're gonna get some
but
black
right
with me.
bucket louder than these gang events. Ain't none
This
of
is
you
your
has
idea to
been a
stop
threat.
those
I'll
fires,
show you
because
out
so
this
far,
30
all it
yet.
does is
That's my
mean we
age
gotta
guard,
light it
it's still the
anyhow.
next. Planning for the president. These pussies on the internet. So flashing on what game they rap. I never knew about Snoopy and
Exact
Connect.
same problem
I
in
was
the
the first
inverse as the
female
expanded
Toronto
tobacco.
rappers
You guys
rap.
are a complete fucking waste of
Twisted
fucking
cause I
Oxford
cut the
too.
dress,
You
the
slows
principal,
these
the
jobs.
older heads. You surely brought this bread
Because
though.
I have to
When I was
stand here
talking
and tell
about my
people I made it, but I'm not
them years
connected to
ended
these
zero.
fucking
Just deuces on the decade. You jump on so still fade. I'm coming through the fuck it up like Luke Cage. I'm wavy like the loose spray. I still on point.
You got the government issued card from the white people. Therefore, you're going to kill me because I said I don't need the government's white card, the white people's government's card. Remember that? Remember that? Keep closing my eyes, pedo. That's a good dramatic touch. But you don't sleep with your eyes closed, and you don't die with your eyes closed. And I don't see with my eyes open. Do it again. I don't see with my eyes open, so I'm a little confused what message you're trying to say. What's the threat? Put the threat explicitly. You told me you're gonna rape me, drag me from a pickup truck, give me AIDS. Do it. I told you you're gonna get shot, and so far, I've been right 120 fucking times or some shit, and you've been right 0.
It's very relaxing. The way we taking care of them packets get carried in plastic and dust preliminary offenses.
These pedophiles won't be my friends if I keep calling them pedophiles.
It's really I ain't taking the fat shit. Like, these are kind of people never brought to the flat shit. And I'm over
This is straight 10 megabits per second uplink, right? Supposedly. But again, the big tech companies.
Boy, that ain't no reference. I love the glizzy 1911, my preference. Get you fired from your job with a severance. I'll kill the biggest bear like the Revenant. Don't wear your fur bits so everybody shares it. Fuck around with Charlie, bro, I'm getting on some murder shit. Big gun, then you know I'm gonna defend the turf with it. The bubble like a stripper on the pole when I'm working it. Shake up your vehicle like it's turbulence. My A-Rap keep explosives where it's turbulence. You feel them cold, they'll turn the heat on you, courteous. My treaty niggas put the poison in your curry dish. Mr. O, mix the pot, burn your heads and...
This week, Predators receives federal funding to intervene in the environmental assessment of the Valentine Lake megamine. And after 21 years of waiting for Canada to implement commercial decision.
I don't
don't have pity for none of you godless heathens. That's just the way I feel. Screaming data flies matter, but Indians would rather drink whiskey than pay their bills. Yelling native this and native that. Root for a red skin and get a native mad. As soon as I have everyone reacts and wanna hate me and call me a vulture cause my hair ain't black. But my skin and my eyes ain't brown. Well, I seen you at the last powwow talking about genocide. Like you were around back then. Like you was really hunting and gathering back then. Like you was really putting it up back then. Okay, look. I heard you want to complain about the conditions you from, so it's worse than the ghetto. Yeah, it's worse than the slum, but it's so fucking bad. Why don't you run? America's free, you stupid idiot. You can do what you want.
You found these cut and paste codes from the Solar Wind Sack on a child molestation chat room. And if someone sent you the codes, that's where they found them. You're on the fucking watch list, stupid. It ain't got nothing to do with my opinions.
Goddamn priority straight. Wait. It's like you're proud to be drunk, lazy as fuck. You'd rather do drugs than get a job and be up. But then you want to turn around and complain about alcoholism and addiction rates. Get the fuck out of my face. You can't escape the problems. You can smudge for a change, you can't earn a dollar. You got nobody else to blame, so you blame Donald. So it's fuck the world with America great again, kind of. And my voice ain't missing. I'm not right.
No, I know the other reason he's mad. Aside from the fact this retard lives in my building that's doing this right now. It's the air thing that's good, right? We've tried it dozens fucking different ways to voice the air supply. So as I stand here, I can see the screen. I know this is like this test you're gonna do, like just like Russia does with NORAD. Every spot in this fucking one room, I can see the TV screen. I'm not sure what type of sociopath you are that you think most people can't do that. We can see up and down, up and down. Okay, so what? And now you're done because I pointed out. So we know you're a new idiot that just got caught surfing child molestation chat boards, and you think this is a fun game to play. Why? Your buddy told you that he's bothering your buddy, and it's about this and it's about that, right? So in real gangbang shit, everybody that comes anywhere near me gets killed. And with this weird child molestation internet shit, the Toronto police are in and out of this fucking internet connection all the fucking time. So I don't know why you're bothering. This is how I know you're a new idiot. And this is how I know you're a new idiot. And this is how I know you keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. I know who you are. I know who you are. Yeah, you're the people that walk right up to me saying, yo, talk to Bash. I don't even know you, right? You fucking gone? So the Toronto police have every permission they need to find out who's dossing my shit. They're gonna follow backdoor through that. Because if you use a backdoor tunnel somebody left you and just gave you, they gave you that. Oh, you're getting mad. You're so mad. That's the other way you're fucking up. Because if this is supposed to be like psyops type shit, you're fucking it up. This is not a hack. John, why are you so angry? You're not a hacker if you get emotional when you don't get your way. It's not magic that you can reach my TV. In fact, you're not technically reaching my TV. My TV's done. You can't hurt my TV. Your first clue should have been that you have to track me down to a video that I know I'm streaming. I know I'm streaming this video, so you're not spying on somebody. So you're not spying on somebody. I'm gonna keep repeating it over and over. I know, because you're gonna press it 30 fucking times in a row, get banned, and be back 2 minutes later. I know. So you're not magically spying on somebody. I turned this on purpose, and I'm really I don't understand the purpose. Do you want the first 20 minutes of every video I make and the last 8.5 minutes to be about child molestation? But you're angry that I keep telling the truth. Bother, fuck off, and I won't be talking about it. Stop cutting the audio on my videos, and I wouldn't make 15 or 20 in a day. I'd make one. You're mad about something you're doing. You think that somehow you're going to, I'm not talking about it. You're part of an organization on the internet that is called like digital terrorism now. You're on watch lists. You're doxxed by the Royal Canadian Navy. You're doxxed by the RCN. Everybody knows all this. This is not going on. Except for you idiots that try to cruise the dark web and act like you're every single I'm looking right at the screen, bro.
Need my money stretched down.
Watching my eyes.
Talk about double trucks. See right through that shit. I'm a
every time I say something bad about you, you flip the fuck out packet-wise. I bet you don't even know what a packet is.
Even as a liar, you would like to confuse us. You will also mix lies with the truth to attack us. You attack us psychologically.
Oh, let me guess, you're going to use it. I'm a white supremacist, not a child molester. Guess what? Guess what? If you didn't realize,
this is real life shit, can't change it for an instant. Blood, sweat, and tears, now everyone's against it, trying to step in our way, man.
Guess what? You didn't realize,
got homies on every corner, none afraid to get shot, you hear it drop. Here comes the end of your life. Hollow points country, you like the edge of a knife. It's getting harder to see. Step away from the light, cause I'm the devil in disguise and stole your soul tonight. What?
I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight.
You're gonna prove me wrong by doing
I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight.
You must be able to tell from
I
what's
stole your
happening on
soul
the screen.
tonight. Devil in disguise. Stole your soul tonight.
As you wake up in the dark and not realizing I'm there, go ahead and reach for the light. You won't find one there. This is the darkness inside, mixed with the pain that you feel. Hear the voice of calling out another soul to conceal. You see the tears in the eyes, that's what's causing the pain. Staring at yourself blindly, can't remember the name. Call me whatever you like, but let it be told. I'm the devil in disguise and the possessor of souls.
Why are you cutting the audio off on this
The
one?
possessor of souls, the devil in disguise.
Why are you making it all choppy and scratchy and staticky like the
The
last one?
possessor of souls, I'll be the devil in
Did you
disguise.
fuck
The
up your
possessor of
backdoor
souls.
or your script?
The possessor of souls, I'll be the devil in disguise. The possessor of souls. The possessor of souls, devil in disguise. The possessor of souls.
Feel the pain in your chest, yeah, that's
If I
me
go
coming
away
back,
for an
being possessed
hour,
by the devil. It's the life that
if I go
have.
away for an hour and come back,
light in the dark. Hear
the next
footsteps in the night,
entire
now
30
you're
minutes of the
rasping
next
shock.
video
Go
is this
ahead
shit.
and hide. Try to
Non-stop.
make no sound. I
Non-stop.
know
Every
you
2
every
seconds.
thought,
Just pissed
match,
off
slow you
that I
down
went
to
away
be
for an
found and
hour.
getting closer.
Keep
Can
showing
you
me
feel
my eyes
presence
closed.
here?
It's
'Cause
good.
I'm the devil in disguise, the only person you fear.
The only person you fear, I'll be the devil in disguise.
Did you not hear the lyrics? Not the fucking guy talking, stupid. I can't believe that's all it is. No, it's such a sickness in our society. It's not that they have a sickness. They aren't sick. They are the sickness. I've literally been dealing with this my whole life. I'm almost fucking 40. But I don't just think people are asking
This
me.
is real life shit, can't
Dealing with
change
sex
for an
offenders in the
instant. Blood,
neighborhood.
sweat, and tears, now everyone's against it. Trying to step in our way,
I mean,
man, your
dealing-
ass will get popped. Got homies on every corner, none afraid to get shot. You hear it drop.
I'm gonna talk more and do nothing till the audio cuts out. You get mad. So obviously you burnt out some of your backdoor tunnels, your scripts. I don't know where you think this gets you, so I'll break it down for you. What ends up happening is they backdoor you through your back door. You understand that, right? Like, what you're doing is just going to get you in insignificant shit. I was supposed to be upset. These pedophiles are going to hurt me and kill me and do this and do that and call the cops on me and do this and do that. You've been saying this shit to me since like 3? You've been doing this for literally 13 years. Yeah, keep it up. 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 You should see how fucked up the shit happening on my screen is. But I'm not going to go to the point of citing, oh, this happened, this happened, and then they think I'm helping them or something like it's a game we're playing. No, these fucking sickos really think somehow I'm their friend, and this is the way we're making up our relationship here. I'm waiting for you to fuck off and die. You all die. I've seen hundreds of you get murdered, and nobody fucking turns it in. I've seen it happen so many fucking times, dog. You're getting mad. You're getting upset. You're getting upset. So what's happening is they're just overloading the system. They can't, like, apparently do much. So, like, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, whoever was doing this had, like, some really cool codes they were using. They were skipping the track and resetting things and doing all sorts of shit. They spent a month resetting attempting to reprogram my router. I don't know if they successfully did it, but I doubt it. They spent a month fucking up. So what they're trying with the way they do that is they try to reprogram it, and then the router just says fuck this and resets itself back to factory. That was a month straight of that, but it's not happening now. So please tell me, what is the router garbage? I should have thrown it out and get a new one, right? There's nothing wrong with it. It runs for years at a time. I turn it off when the power goes out. This is, we got a generator that don't happen often. I'm supposed to be upset that these pedophiles won't. I don't know. I've never asked them for a goddamn thing in my life. If you hear the things they say, they won't help me do. Like, I need help from them. Like, I've ever needed help from these fucking assholes. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. So Canada's age of consent was 14 for a long time. For 110 years. From 1895 to 2005, it was 14. Yes, it was. It doesn't matter what everybody born in the boomer years thinks. It was never 16. It was always 14. So we have this incredible reputation for sex tourism, child sex tourism. Like, we're #2 behind Thailand. And nobody talks about this. Why would you? It's a horrible thing. The one good thing is it brings these assholes here. Maybe the Canadian authority. Do they? Nah, not really. Sort of. I mean, they do, but yeah, the cops go after these guys like crazy. It's the courts handing them fucking ridiculously light sentences. So I've been literally dealing with this since my whole life, because everybody out here knows these people are out here. They put them on like chemical castrations and shit. They end up being the zombie dude of the neighborhood.
Panel of vaccine experts now said. The other members of our company, we again hope to keep you informed.
So now these idiots have figured out computers, and they think they invented the computer. And when I tell them we did, they don't believe it. So I tell the entire story. The GUI operating systems you use now with 64,000 colors now, that was based on what the researchers did with us to see how we use the computer. Okay. Nobody in my family's in the fucking army. And everything I ever said's not fucking true. And I made up my name and every other fucking thing.
Historic Drury Lane Theatre, a relic of old London. On this site, in the cramped and crooked lanes of Aldwych, there has been a playhouse since Nell Gwynn sold oranges in the pit. The present theatre, though modernized, is heavy and darkened with time. By daylight, it is a dinginess of red plush seats, haunted by old ghosts. But at night, when the lights bloom for some new production, when the murmur of a crowd fills the carpeted aisles, and the orchestra begins to tune up, it is kindled with that strange magic before the rise of the curtain.
wafer, each way of the 13 programs. No, madam, this is row E, you'll see the G.
And backstage, where nerves crawl and there is a tendency to scream, the three witches of the play are huddled around the peephole in the curtain, looking out into the audience. They are hideous-looking creatures, these witches, in grey rags like cobwebs. But as they speak...
Dear, I am scared. Don't let it bother you, darling. You can't even see the audience when the floats are on. There's nothing to worry about. Nothing except the size of the take at the box office. You won't even have to worry about that tonight. Look out there. You two are shaking as much as I am. Now don't pretend. All right, all right. Everybody's jumpy on first night. What I can't understand is why they want to use young girls as witches and then make us talk in cracked voices as though we were 80. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron trouble. Daisy, darling, it's only one of the ghosts effects. You've been hearing it for weeks at rehearsals. I will say this for Myron Willard, as an actor and a manager too. He's the first one who's ever had a real professional magician to do the ghost effects of this ham show. Oh, Ivy, Celia, look there. Where? Out in the audience in the second little box on the left-hand side. Oh, don't you see the woman who's just coming in? Yes, I can see her. Not a bad-looking bit of goods for her age. What about her? But that's Marcia Blair. Marcia Blair? You don't mean you've never heard of her? I can't say I have either, if it comes to that. Oh, Ivy, give us a squiz. Marcia Blair used to be Mr. Willard's leading lady. She was a very great actress 15 years ago. Oh, 15 years ago. She's had a terribly romantic history, but she's made lots of money and retired from the stage. Then she married some horrible no-good. Did you see that tall gray-haired man standing beside her? Well, he doesn't look much like a no-good. That's not the man I mean, Celia. That's Howard White, her second husband. Oh. They say he loved her for years and followed her about and practically worshipped her. But she was married to this no-good and wouldn't get a divorce. Then the no-good died, I suppose. So Marcia Blair and her faithful Howard got married. Yes. I remember reading in the paper that they've been married 1 year tonight. I expect they're very happy. Well, I'd be happy, too, if I had a mink coat and a string of pearls like that. Well, you've got to admit she's beautiful. All right, Katie, if you say so. I used to go and see her act when I was a little girl. She was kind of an idol. I wonder what they're saying to each other up in that box now. I wonder what they're saying.
Dear, I wish you wouldn't be so uneasy. Nothing can happen to you here.
You're uneasy yourself, Howard.
Yes, I suppose I am a little.
Howard, I know I shouldn't be talking like this on our first anniversary, but that's what worries me. What if Barry isn't dead? What if he isn't dead?
Oh, listen to me, darling. Your late husband, heaven condemn his soul, died in New York more than a year ago. We have proof of that.
But who wrote those letters to me?
I don't know, dear. Somebody playing a joke on you.
Joke? If you marry him, Marcia, you won't be alive a year from then. Joke.
But you're married to me, my dear, and you are alive.
Shall I quote you something from another play, Howard?
Well?
The Ides of March are come. Aye, Caesar, but not gone. And it's still 2 hours. 2 hours to the time you're actually married.
Oh, look here, dear. This is carrying an obsession too far.
It would be just like Barry to wait until the last moment, just to make it worse. You knew him.
Yes, I knew him.
He was a genius.
I suppose so. As a mere businessman, I never quite understood this theatrical temperament, except yours, of course.
Barry was a greater actor than Myron Willard will ever be. Barry could play anything, from a Cockney to King Lear. His skill at makeup wasn't merely good, it was terrifying. Oh, Howard, I am frightened. Suppose he's managed to get close to us tonight, and yet we can't see him.
Well, the music started, Marcia. I have to go.
Must you go, Howard? Really?
If I break this appointment with Ferndale, dear, the deal will be called off. And since I haven't got too much backing anyway,
All right, dear. I understand. Go ahead.
Unless you wanted to come with me.
And Miss Myron's opening tonight? Oh, I couldn't do that.
I tell you, you'll be perfectly safe here, dear.
Of course, Howard. I know that.
You're in front of 3,000 people. Nobody could attack you. The only door to this box is guarded. Outside that door is Miss Fenton, who's devoted to you, and the chauffeur who's even more devoted to you. What could happen, dear?
Nothing that could. And I'd prefer to be alone anyway.
Yes, I rather guess
Oh,
that.
please. It's just that I can't endure anybody being with me when I'm watching a great play. But that doesn't include you, darling.
Then, if you'll accept these, madam, in honor of our first anniversary.
Oh, Howard. Well, they're lovely. Of course I'll accept them.
And here's a program. But everything else you need,
Yes, yes, I think so.
I just open the door to the passage to make sure our watchdogs are on guard. Yes, they're out there, all right. Good night, Master. See you in an hour or two.
Good night, Howard, and good luck.
Miss Fenton, Bradley.
Yes, Mr. White.
Sure, anything wrong? Miss Fenton, you've been my wife's companion secretary for 5 or 6 years.
Yes, Mr. White, and I've loved every minute of it.
And you, Bradley, you haven't been my chauffeur for quite so long, but they tell me you're an ex-wrestler.
That's right, sir. Champion of the Shoreditch Athletic Club. Within my prime, though I says it was sudden, as good a man as ever climbed to the ropes.
Now, you know your instructions, Bradley. Yes, trust me, sir.
Nobody gets into this here box tonight unless it's over my dead body.
Nothing must happen, you understand? Nothing.
Please, you're as white as paper.
As for you, Miss Fenton, I'm afraid it's a little awkward. I know I ought to ask you to go and enjoy it, Marcia, but...
You needn't apologize, Mr. White. I know she doesn't want company. She'll be leaning forward with her elbows on the box rail, just as she always does. She isn't merely watching a play. She's acting, Lady Macbeth. Every line, every gesture. And I don't mean to disturb her.
You won't leave this door, either of you.
You trust me, sir. So,
Anything wrong, Bradley?
it is a very rummy-looking cove coming along the passage, sir, wearing a big black cloak with a red lining.
Oh, that man, Bradley. That's only Herr von Arnheim. He's a professional magician and escape artist. I was just wondering... Excuse me.
Don't worry, Mr. White. We'll look after her.
Von Arnheim. I say von Arnheim.
Now, THANX not say I did it. Never shake the Goldilocks at me.
I beg your pardon.
And I beg yours, my friend. I was merely quoting a line from the play. You are not leaving the theater. Surely not walking out on Macbeth.
I'm afraid I've got to.
Oh, that's a pity, my friend. You will miss some of my best effects, to say nothing of Shakespeare's. When Banquo's ghost appears at the table.
I don't want to hear any more about ghosts, thanks. Banquo's or anybody else's.
I imagine you mean your wife's late husband.
You've heard about it then?
Yes, your wife has told me a good deal. She seems to think that in my profession I might have some charm over demons or spell against ghosts.
You know, von Arnheim, in a muddled kind of way, that's what I've been wondering myself.
No, unfortunately, no. I am all too human. But your problem interests me, and I confess it worries me.
Worries you?
What about me? As I understand it, her first husband was a half-mad American actor who later went completely mad and died in New York. His, what's the word I want?
Or obsession?
That's it, obsession. His obsession was Marcia Blair's eyes.
Yes, always her eyes.
They seemed to hypnotize him. But it's not new, you know. You'll find the same motive, the eyes of a beautiful woman, all through the works of Edgar Allan Poe. Then, as I understand it, after this man's death, she began to receive a series of letters.
Foul letters.
Apparently written by him, and threatening her with some rather horrible form of death if she married you.
I tell you, Barry Lakey is dead. He can't get up out of his coffin.
Oh, getting out of coffins, my friend, is not so difficult. I have done it myself.
Oh, please stop joking, von Arnheim. You don't happen to be dead.
It was a joke.
True. There is that small difference. Is your wife here in the theater tonight?
Yes. She wouldn't have come here except that it's Madame Willard's first night. We haven't seen Madame, either of us, in years. She's back there in box D.
So I hear. I was hoping that you might invite me to share the box.
Look here, old man. I don't want to seem inhospitable, but...
she doesn't want company?
Well, that's about it.
Well, then walk back a little distance with me, this way, so that we can see the stage from the back of the dress circle. Now, the orchestra has stopped, and they'll ring up in a moment. There, look at it. Look at what? The stage man. The lights have gone out, all except the dim yellow footlights shining at the curtain. The last cough, the last murmur, the last rustle of problem dies away in one vast, breathing hush. The curtain goes up.
Let go of my arm, von Arnheim. I've got to leave.
Now, what are the stage directions? desert place, thunder and lightning. Enter 3 witches. When, indeed, I wonder. I beg your pardon, Von Arnheim. No, it was nothing. In the London newspapers for that year 1936, you may read how Myron Willard triumphed in Drury Lane as Macbeth. But tonight, as the clock ticks on, there is another drama in the dimly lighted corridor outside Box D. There sits Miss Louise Fenton, Marcia Blair's companion secretary. Beside her, burly and broken-nosed, is big Jim Bradley, the ex-wrestler. And when more than half an hour has passed...
There's the applause, Jim. That was at the end of the first act.
Yes, I hear it. Nothing's happened. But take my word for it, nothing is going to happen.
Oh, she's such a likable person, Jim. And I think one of our greatest Shakespearean actresses.
Well, I don't much care for this Shakespeare business, miss. Who give me a good movie with gangsters in it? It's my style.
Oh, you don't understand, Jim. I've seen her as Juliet, as Rosalind, as Portia, in our own drawing room without any props. I've heard her as Lady Macbeth, too. So you should see her eyes.
Her eyes, miss?
Yes, you should see her eyes when she delivers that speech. The Raven himself is horse that quotes the fatal end.
Hey, miss, look there.
What is it?
That foreign-looking coat in the black cape coming along the passage there. Easy.
I beg your pardon. You're Miss Louise Fenton, aren't you?
Yes, Susan. What is it?
I am looking for Arnheim, a friend of Mr. White's. And I must see Marcia Blair at once.
No, you don't, Governor. You're not going in there.
Why not?
Because nobody goes in there. Not if it was the king himself. There's orders.
Now listen to me, both of you. When the lights went on, I happened to be looking at Box D from the other side of the theater. And I think there is something wrong.
But there can't be anything wrong. Jim Bradley and I have been sitting here the whole time. Except, of course...
Except when?
Well, except when I went in there for a few seconds.
You went in there, Miss Fenton? May I ask when that was?
It was after Mr. White had gone and just before the play started. I went in to ask if she wanted anything. She said she didn't, so I came out again. And Bradley's been with me all the time, except when he went to get a drink of water up the corridor.
That's as true as gospel.
One moment and listen to me. Marcia Blair is leaning forward across the railing of the box.
Oh, but that's nothing, Herr von Arnheim. That's the way she always is.
Does she always fall forward with her arms held straight out and her head down on her arms?
You better be careful, miss. It's a trick.
Trick? Why not open the door and see for yourselves? Would that do any harm?
No, I suppose it wouldn't, but... Oh, there must be some mistake. We haven't heard a sound from in there. There couldn't be anything wrong.
You open the door, Miss Fenton. I'm going to hold tight to this gentleman just in case.
Quiet, please. Quiet.
What is it, miss?
Won't you there with me, Mr. Newton? Please go, Cathy. We're wrong. We don't want to attract attention. Now.
Oh, Herr von Arnheim. There's blood all over her face.
Yes. And don't begin screaming again, Miss Fenton, when I tell you she's dead. Bradley?
Yes, sir.
Pick Miss Blair's body up and carry her out into the corridor. In another minute, we'll have the whole theater wanting to know what's wrong.
All right, sir. You win. But the boxes, won't they see?
They've gone down to the bar to get a drink. They won't see anything. Hurry.
She ain't no right weight, the poor lady ain't. Steady does it. Hold the door open. That's got it. Now, close the door. Shall I put her down on the floor, Gaffney?
Yes, better do that.
I never took those threats seriously. That's what I blame myself for. And if something did happen, well, I thought he'd attack her. Never thought he'd hide away across the theater and fire a shot.
And you were quite right, Miss Fenton. Marcia Blair was not shot.
She wasn't shot.
No, take a look at the wound.
Oh, I can't look at it.
She was stabbed. Stabbed through the right eye with a narrow, sharp blade, which entered her brain and killed her instantly. Not a pretty death, but a quick one.
You seem to know a lot about this, Governor.
Perhaps I do, my friend, and perhaps I can guess a lot more.
You mean somebody stood out there and threw a knife at you? Like a ready music hall turn?
No, I don't mean that either. There's no knife in the wound and none in the box. The murderer took it away.
Took it away?
Exactly.
Herr von Arnheim, please wait. You're not saying someone climbed up from outside, 20 or 30 feet from the floor, and stabbed poor Marcia in full sight of 3,000 people?
That, Miss Fenton, is what the evidence seems to indicate.
But it's impossible.
Yet it happened. There is Marcia Blair's body. What's that?
What's the warning bell for that? People will be coming back here any minute. What are we going to do?
Applause, acclaim, triumph. Byron Willard is Macbeth. Helen Gale is Lady Macbeth. Magical effects by Ludwig van Arnheim. Very few persons knew that there is a dead woman in the theater. But at the end of the play, it is a different story. The crowd files out, past a cordon of police. The lights are extinguished. The great theater is dark and mumbling with echoes. See the stage now. Only the backings for overhead lights pour down a pale blaze on two men who stand grotesquely against the background of Dunblane Castle. One of these men is Howard West, wearing a collapse. The other is Byron Willard himself, still wearing his makeup, still wearing helmet and chain mail. And when Willard speaks,
Howard, why? Confounded man, can't you hear what I'm saying?
Excuse me, madam. This is almost finished.
Well, not that I'm blaming you over.
Thank you, madam.
It's traditional, you know, that Macbeth's an unlucky play. But up to the very end, I thought I'd never done better. 11 curtain calls. No, 12. How would you like my tomorrow and tomorrow's speech?
I'm sorry, madam. I'm afraid I didn't hear it.
Yes, poor old Marcia. She'd have hated to die like that. Marcia was proud of her eyes. Always nearsighted as an owl, but too vain to wear glasses. There's Van Arnheim looking at us from under the castle archway. Van Arnheim! Did you call me, my friend? You were rather difficult to recognize under all that Macbeth makeup.
Yes, I was just thinking the same thing.
Never mind that. Where are the police now? At the moment, Mr. Willard, the police are in your dressing room. They are using it for questioning. No reception tonight, of course. No, but I thought you might be interested in 2 items of information that police have just discovered. Go on. We had a fairly full house tonight, I believe. Fairly full. Every seat was reserved, yes, but not occupied. I don't follow you. One box on the ground floor, box E to be exact, was empty. Reserved and paid for, but empty. And box E, oddly enough, was just underneath the one occupied by Marcia Blair. All the same, I still don't see quite what you're... Now, our next item of information comes from an usher. An outside eye seat in the stores, very close to that empty box, was occupied by a very curious stranger who arrived late in the dark and slipped out again by a nearby exit a few minutes afterwards.
Just for a moment, Van Arnheim. Are you saying the stranger climbed up and attacked Marcia and pulled you over the audience?
No, my friend. The murderer did not approach from that direction.
Then he must have reached Marcia through the door, guarded by Bradley and Miss Fenton?
No, not from that direction either.
Confound it, man. It must have been one way or the other.
Not necessarily.
Tell me, Howard, don't you think I've got enough troubles already without this nightmare on top of it?
Herr von Arnheim. Herr von Arnheim.
You must take it easy, Miss Fenton. You must not excite yourself. Have the police...
Yes. Look, you've got to help me. They won't believe me.
They won't believe the young lady, sir, and that's a fact. I've tried to help her all I can, but there's things I can swear to and things I can't.
You see, I did go into that box. Oh, just for a couple of seconds, I admit it. But no other person went in or could have got in. So they say, or at least they're hinting that I killed her. But I swear I never touched her.
Who was questioning you, Miss Fenton? Inspector Grimes or Sergeant Blake?
I'm not sure. The sergeant, I think.
Then I shouldn't worry if I were you. Inspector Grimes knows better. He's guessed, in fact, exactly what I have guessed.
You seem on rather familiar terms with the police, my friend.
I am, Mr. Will. I am. Anyone who practices escapes from handcuffs, sacks, chests,
And stage boxes, perhaps.
stage boxes, if you insist. Excuse me. Isn't that Inspector Grimes in the wings now?
Yes, and he's nodding his head.
Then I can tell you, I think, what you want to know.
Well, if you do happen to know anything, it's your duty to speak up. Poor Marcia seems to have had some ridiculous idea that her former husband, Barry Lake, was still alive. Her fears weren't justified, of course, and she wasn't killed by any dead husband.
I beg your pardon. Her fears were justified, though not quite in the way she believed. And she was killed by her husband.
Then Barry Lake is still alive.
No, Barry Lake is dead.
You certainly Marcia was really killed by a ghost.
No, I mean she was killed by her devoted second husband, Mr. Howard White.
You know what they say? That's not true. It's a slanderous statement. I'll have you in court for it. Everybody knows how devoted I was to Marcia.
Your devotion, my friend, was devotion to the money. And your business affairs have been shaky for a long time.
That's not true, and you can't prove it.
It's true anyway.
It's a lie.
Willing to marry him, but Mr. Howard White knew he'd never touch a penny unless he killed her. He wrote the letters himself.
Herr von Arnheim, he can't be guilty. She was alive after he left the box. He wasn't anywhere near her when she died.
Perfectly correct, Miss Fenton.
He wasn't there, and yet he killed her.
Exactly. But you and Bradley can supply the clue that will hang him.
Me, sir, I don't know nothing.
No, I don't either.
I think you do if you put your mind to it. Do you remember what Howard White said to her just before he left the box?
Yes, he said, "Good night, Marcia. See you in an hour or two." And she answered, "Good night and good luck."
No, I mean just before that.
Well, there wasn't anything.
You see, it's a slanderous statement without any proof. It's an insult to my position on the stock exchange.
Wait. I do remember something rather queer.
Think, Miss Fenton, think.
He said to Marcia jokingly, "If you'll accept these, madam, in honor of our first anniversary." And Marcia said, "Howard, they're lovely. Of course I'll accept them."
That's right, sir. He did say it.
And what do you think he was referring to, Miss Fenton? What was he asking her to accept?
Well, I imagined it was flowers, a corsage or something like that.
Did you see any flowers in the box or pin to Marcia Blair's gown?
No. I come to think of it, I didn't.
Then what did he give her?
Don't look at me, sir.
Now, here is a woman who's very nearsighted, yet refuses to wear glasses. But she can accept a pair of...
Opera glasses.
It's a lie. You can't prove it. Hold on, sir. Let it go.
You better stay here, Captain. Thank you, Bradley, but the place is surrounded with police.
But I still don't understand.
Now, what happens when you lift opera glasses to your eyes and they are not in focus? You turn the little wheel in the middle to bring them into focus. For Marcia Blair, it was deadly.
You mean the glasses had...
Yes, they were specially constructed glasses, Miss Fenton. They were invented by a French criminal years ago. That little wheel is a little trigger. It releases the spring of a sharp, thin blade which strikes through the eyes into the brain.
Oh, don't, please.
You can't prove it.
Marcia Blair died instantly. The glasses torn from her eye by their own weight dropped over the box rail to the carpeted aisle below. The only witnesses who might have noticed would have been the people in the box just underneath.
And that box was empty.
By arrangement, yes. Even if anybody did see them fall, hard wife was prepared to remove the evidence instantly. You haven't forgotten the curious stranger.
Curious stranger?
I mean, the man who slipped in after it was dark, took an IFC just under the box, and slipped out again a few minutes later.
It's a bag of lies from start to finish. You can't prove a word of it.
I beg your pardon, my friend. Didn't you see Inspector Grimes not to me a moment ago? Well, you are going to hang, my friend, for one of the neatest and cruelest crimes in my experience. The police have just found those opera glasses with a neat set of fingerprints in the side pocket of your motor car.
And so ends Fire Burn and Cauldron Bubble, starring the distinguished actor Paul Lucas. Tonight's tale of suspense. This is your narrator, Ted Osborne, the man in black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Tuesday, same time, when Nancy Coleman stars in Fear Paints a Picture. William Spear, the producer, John Dietz, the director, Bernard Herrmann, the composer-conductor, Robert Salmon, studio technician, and John Dixon Carr, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Stay tuned for Phil Harris and Alice Faye next on Theater of the Mind.
Hi, I'm Sherry Tad Cook.
Shares down to 8.3%. Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 121 points. The S&P was down 50 points. The winners today were the so-called reopening stocks. American Airlines up 3.4%. Air Canada up 3.3%, $27.28. As for the meme stocks, Rocket Companies was grounded down 32% to $28. GameStop higher at $124.50. Canadian dollar 79.07 cents. U.S. Top stories next on 680 News.
Oh no, there's water everywhere.
Dad, a pipe broke.
My poor carpet.
We need a plumber.
And fast. Roto-Rooter does plumbing. We need somebody to clean up this water. And Roto-Rooter does water cleanup.
As soon as I can find a phone in all this water, I'm calling a bunch of people.
I told you, Roto-Rooter does both. 1-800-GET-ROTO.
Wait, Roto-Rooter does plumbing?
And water cleanup? Yeah, they do both. 1-800-GET-ROTO. What's their number?
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name. And away go troubles down the drain.
Let's pretend I was going to ask you to marry me.
Oh, okay.
So what kind of ring would you have in mind?
Well, something simple, but not too subtle and not traditional. But not traditional, you know. Canadian-made, elegant, stunning, and uniquely representative of our everlasting love.
Okay.
But honestly, I haven't really thought about it that much.
Right. Find that perfectly unique ring for that perfectly unique person at Spence Diamonds. Open now in Vaughan, Scarborough, and Mississauga.
Brother Killer and Dumpler
News
the Quarry.
30.
The gold mine.
Toronto's number
Without a
one
sweat.
for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, March the 3rd. I'm Kate Lee.
Stop for that. Here's what's making news right now.
A tow truck driver kidnapped 300 Nigerian schoolgirls and gave Boris Johnson North Korean COVID with an
A
ICBM.
limited 2,000 more vaccination appointments open up in York Region tomorrow morning for seniors 80 and older, and they're expected to book up fast. Toronto's medical officer of health is recommending we move to gray zone. Is and will be a delicate balance. She says moving out of the stay-at-home order is a reasonable course of action. Allegedly scamming landlords for 10 years. Police say multiple fraud charges have been laid against a man and woman from Toronto.
A couple of Blue Jays prospects look great on the mound in a loss to the Yankees, while the Leafs and Raptors also play tonight. Sports at 45.
Disney says it's closing quite a number of its Disney stores. We're looking into that. TSX falls 100 points and technology leads 50
Freak
cents.
about them. Continuing to make money at
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Let's check in with Craig Gear.
Decent drive on the major routes. We're looking at a bit of construction, really not too much, but if you're on the westbound 401, slow one getting by the construction at Brimley in the express lanes are blocked off, so not a lot of room. So it's pretty much single file through here and just dropping speeds a little bit. Westbound 407 ramp to the westbound 401 closed. Westbound Finch ramp onto the northbound 404. And they've shut down the transfer at Rathburn on the south 427 into the collectors. Next report at 10:41, but first, if your disability claim has been denied for any reason, call Aaron Waxman at 416-661-4878 or on your cell phone at pound LTD. Here's the forecast now with Natasha Ramsahai.
Temps falling back to reality again. Overnight tonight down to -6, wind chill -14. A few wet flurries possible to the north, and it's going to be a little bit windy out of the northwest up to 50 kilometers per hour. The sun will be out though with a high of -2, wind chill -8. Tonight we're dropping to -6, wind chill -14 by morning.
Downtown Toronto right now, partly cloudy and 4 degrees. 680 news time, 10:32.
It's a decision based on getting more people protected against COVID-19 faster. New recommendations are out for how much time you can wait between getting your first and second dose of vaccine.
680's Alex Bloomfield has the details.
4 months. That's the new strong recommendation from Canada's panel of vaccine experts for the time between COVID shots. The panel says in the context of limited supply, this will maximize the number of people benefiting from a vaccine. Infectious disease expert Dr. Isaac Bogosh thinks it's the right move in a public health crisis.
When the dust settles, we can update it and give people boosters as data drives those policies. But currently, the main focus should be let's stop the death and stop the infection, and all the vaccines will be able to do that.
But not all experts agree. One senior scientist at Toronto's University Health Network says this falls outside the jurisdiction of NACI, effectively a live experiment. But Ontario's health ministry says this will allow for a rapid acceleration of first doses, and it's now updating its rollout plan. The panel projects making this change in March could result in 80% of Canadians over the age of 16 getting a Pfizer or Moderna shot by the end of June. I'm Alex Bloomfield.
We have breaking news from York Region, where a limited supply of vaccine appointments are opening up for those aged 80 and over. The region's public health unit says 2,000 appointments will be available tomorrow morning. It comes after 20,000 openings filled in just 90 minutes when clinics first opened on Monday. Residents aged 80 and over can book online tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. and the appointments available are on Thursday and Friday from 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. The additional openings are being offered at the Richmond Green Sports Center and Georgina Ice Palace. These appointments can be booked at york.ca/COVID-19 vaccine, and of course the region expecting these appointments to fill very quickly. Walk-ins will not be accepted.
Unifor has confirmed to 680 News that Air Canada would refund passengers who had their flights canceled or postponed during the pandemic. When asked for a comment, Air Canada refers to a February statement that's indicated that discussions with the feds were ongoing. The union represents airline workers at Air Canada as well as other airlines in the country and has been pushing for an aid package for the Canadian airline sector.
680 News Time, 10:35. Toronto's top doctor is advising us to take it slow. She's recommending Toronto hold off on entering the red zone of reopening next week and instead move into the gray lockdown zone. And the chief medical officer has the same idea. Dr. Eileen Davila says moving out of the stay-at-home order into gray is a reasonable course of action for Toronto, but it will be a delicate balance.
It comes down to our choices in our daily lives. Our ability to make the right choices is the reason a move in this direction is possible.
Mayor John Tory is on board with gray.
It is our hope, our very sincere hope, that this cautious approach will take us moving forward and will protect the gains we've made and help ensure that we do not have to contemplate another shutdown.
Peel top doctor is making the same recommendation for his region, where Brampton's positivity rate is climbing. If you're wondering what happens when we move into gray, you still won't be able to get a haircut, go to the gym, or eat inside a restaurant. I'm Phil Martino.
680 News Time at 10:36. A judge has found the man charged in the 2018 North York van attack guilty of murder and attempted murder. 680's Bowman Qureshi has more on today's verdict.
In many ways, this case has been a struggle, a horrific act, a terrible tragedy. Those are the words of Justice Anne Malloy as she started this hearing. One thing she refused to say the entire time is the name of the attacker, saying she did not want to give him the fame he desired, only referring to him as John Doe. Now, what was left to be decided in this case as to whether he should be held criminally responsible, as he had already confessed to police that he had planned and carried out the deadly attack in April of 2018 that killed 10 people and injured 16 others. His lawyer, Boris Bytensky, had argued that because of his client's autism spectrum disorder, he was rendered morally incapable of understanding the wrongness of his actions. But that's an argument that Malloy could not accept, saying he knew the consequences for himself and everyone else, and that it doesn't matter if he didn't have remorse or the ability to empathize with his victims. He is criminally responsible for his actions, and therefore she found him guilty on all counts, including 10 counts of first-degree murder and 16 counts of attempted murder. I'm Momin Qureshi.
Plenty of reaction to today's verdict, including family members of the victims. 680's Mark Douglas has their stories.
He can spend the rest of his life in jail because he deserves it.
Catherine Riddell was run down and severely injured in the van attack. The 70-year-old survivor says now that the verdict has come down, she'll probably sleep for the first time in a while.
He took lives and he didn't care. And you know what? You just have to be accountable for what you do, and he's going to have to be.
But Riddell says she's not happy. This is not closure. And she doesn't know what comes next for her.
It's just the beginning for me, and it's going to be a long journey, but I'm going to get there.
But she does feel justice prevailed. Nick D'Amico lost his sister, Anne Marie, in the van attack.
It's like you're holding your breath for 3 years and you can finally breathe.
He says now his family gets a chance to find and live their new normal. Outside the University Avenue Courthouse, I'm Mark Douglas.
Here with Home News Radio 680 News at 10:38. Police have arrested a couple in a rental scam they say lasted for almost a decade. Here's 680's Madison Fitzpatrick.
Police say that a man and a woman moved into multiple apartments paying first and last rent, then would simply stop. Even though the couple have been with the same employer for over 10 years, they would tell the landlord they were unemployed in order to prolong getting evicted. However, once the eviction process was complete, the man and woman still owed payments to landlords while they looked for other properties to repeat the process yet again. On February 24th of this year, 42-year-old Gary Bachelor and 45-year-old Mandy Chappell were arrested and charged each with 7 counts of fraud over $5,000 and 2 counts of false pretense. Police say the couple did this at several different apartment buildings over 10 years, which would work out to only paying 14 months rent for about 120 months of accommodation. I'm Madison Fitzpatrick.
Your gas price update in 30 seconds.
680 News Time, 10:39.
At Jackpot City,
You pay the rent once every 8 months.
with just one.
What the hell did they do that? You paid the rent once every 8 months. They said they pay first and last too. That's 2 months rent, so that's 16 months. How the hell do you drag out? How the fuck do you do that? I've never heard of somebody being able to do that. I've seen. I'm not quite as successfully as that, but I've seen people do that.
At midnight to $1.23.9 a liter.
680 News Time, 10:40.
It's only $1.24.
I've
It's
done
not
hundreds of home
$1.25.
renovations
It's
over the years, and I'm
$1.24.
particularly careful about what I put under the floors. On my property.
What exactly is he putting under the fucking floors?
Charles, this is a big country of 35 million people.
This keeps the stuff 6 degrees warmer than the floor underneath. So he wants to keep the floor cool and dry. He puts stuff under the floor. And yet let you have this nice, warm, cozy space right above it. Makes me very suspicious. He's as creepy as the windows guy.
Charles, from the defense
People ask me all the time, but we've been
if somebody can show on a balance of probabilities, not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, that their mind is so affected or impaired by a mental disorder that makes it impossible for them to act rationally or know what they're doing is wrong, the courts will hear that. But the good news to your question, Charles, is it really doesn't go further than that, and I would not necessarily think the sky is falling, despite Judge Malloy's not closing the door on a future NCR defense somewhat of this nature.
So just so we're clear, I never said that the justice system is telling us today that autism spectrum disorder, that autism can give one a criminal state of mind. What I said was that autism can open the door to create what looks like a criminal state of mind. That's how I heard this, but without using all of the terminology, simply to say that the legal system is now accepting of the fact that autism can be used in criminal responsible defense as a reason why what happened happened. And I still don't feel the door was shut on that, and I feel that the judge should have done more to shut that door.
I'm not sure the door is shut. You're completely right. Not only that, for Canadians who generally are skeptical of NCR, the goalposts, the playing field, even if you take autism out, it showed that there may be novel ways for defense lawyers. And by the way, sometimes the crowns, it's not always the defense lawyers that are pushing this. Reasonable crowns will look at somebody's state of mind as well. Let's not make this a completely partisan issue, but absolutely, Charles, from today on, there will probably be a lot more lawyering on novel issues of mental health, diseases of the mind, than there were before, with the stark and notorious examples I gave you of somebody schizophrenic off their medication. There's sort of been a traditional approach to NCR in this country, and as things change, this case may, not necessarily for autism or only for autism, but it certainly may have opened the door to possible novel and unusual legal defenses in this area.
In the mind of Ari Goldkind, top criminal lawyer, I need to ask you this, and I'll use the name that the judge uses here, because I like the idea of not using the mass murderer's name. In your opinion, what put John Doe?
Type in the first three letters. You know what Google's going to say? Alex Trebek. It won't even. He'll be. Well, he's not even the number one if you type in his name.
For the last number of years, Charles, and I'd be very outspoken about this, and perhaps I don't think it's controversial. I think it's just factual. Has always been about incel, hatred of women, misogyny. That's the very exciting headline that has come out of this. It was even at the top, and I'm sure you saw this, Charles, the mayor of my city of Toronto, a very fine man, took that catnip, and it was the central start and piece of his statement after the verdict. That, to me, is actually not accurate. So while Manasseh certainly used the writings of these deranged people, some idiot named Elliot Rodger in the States, and certainly referred to the incel movement, that was not his central drive. His central drive is he wanted to go down in history as a mass murderer. He wanted to be infamous. That's the specific word. He viewed that the only way that his lousy life would count, because he was a failure at many things that he did, would be to kill as many people and to go on his mission. He adopted some of the language of the incel movement, but to people who just want to take that catnip, Charles, you'll remember the horrible, horrible massacre in Quebec, the misogynist there. Mr. Manassian made no efforts in all of the planning and deliberation he did. Remember, this took place over months, if not years. He could have targeted, God forbid, of course, women's group, an area where there would be more likely to be women. But what he did going down Yonge Street was indiscriminate and had nothing to do with gender and sex. So for me, what it really was about, Charles, and this is one of the reasons why the judge did not use his name. An interesting issue, by the way, in and of itself to discuss, is that he wanted to be infamous and go down in history, and that's one of the reasons she didn't want to add to his 15 seconds of disgusting infamy.
But most of the victims, certainly most of the ones who died, were women. We'll discuss that in a moment. And the business about the name and infamy and what really put this semi-human into a criminal state of mind. We're discussing the van killer with criminal lawyer Ari Goldkind, and in about 15 minutes' time, we're going to switch focus to the Uyghur genocide and an expert in intelligence who has worked in the Canadian Intelligence Service for years. That's all coming up later in the program. Thank you for joining us on Charles Adler tonight.
With the Daily Grand Lotto, you can win $1,000 a day for life.
Having your doorstep.
18 and 45 past every hour or anytime at Sportsnet.
Avec le massacre de Polytechnique, c'est cette analyse-là que
Et puis d'une reprise.
Oui, aujourd'hui, sonne, jeune ou
Non, c'est paru le mois dernier. Ça a pour titre Cordes sensibles. Et puis je vais vous dire que Freedom Fry, c'est un duo pop indie américain. Il y a Marie Serra, qui elle est parisienne, et l'américain Bruce Driscoll. D'accord. On va écouter ces cordes sensibles. Allons-y.
Ça l'est, mais effectivement, Michel Courchaine, il y a des gens qui peuvent trouver qu'on entend beaucoup le discours des minorités en ce moment, avec les identités minoritaires qui prennent beaucoup de place. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez par rapport à ça?
En fait, moi, je suis assez d'accord pour les écouter, parce qu'on doit les écouter.
10:47.
With the pandemic affecting downtown cores across Canada and the world, the summit is being held tomorrow morning. Experts from around the globe discussing the issue, what's at stake, and what's happening in downtown recovery efforts. They'll also talk about what the future of Canada's downtowns will look like. Some of the speakers include a chief economist and executive advisor for Deloitte Canada, and a global chief economist with the real estate company CRBE. The event is set to get underway at 10:30 a.m. Peel Police now identifying the victim of a fatal shooting last week. Officers say 22-year-old Elijah Charles Gregory from Brampton died in hospital today. He was shot on February 25th. Police said the incident happened last week just after 2 in the morning when they were called to the area of Delphinium Way and Iceland Poppy Trail near McLaughlin and Mayfield Road for reports of gunfire. When they arrived, they found Charles Gregory suffering from life-threatening gunshot wounds. He remained in hospital until he passed away from his injuries today. Hill Region's homicide unit is now taking over the investigation and are asking anyone with information or dash cam footage to contact them or Crime Stoppers.
Wait, who was investigating it before? That didn't think faster.
10:48. Toronto's mayor is welcoming the verdict in the Yonge Street van attack. Mayor John Tory says nearly 3 years ago, our entire city was robbed by this heinous act of violence in the heart of North York.
Since that day, we have been working hard as a city to help the survivors to heal and to move forward and to support the families as they continue to mourn their loss. I truly hope that for the victims and their families and friends, today's verdict will help them.
He also says the judge in the case deserves thanks for her handling of this very difficult situation. Attempts by the defense to use autism spectrum disorder as the reason the attacker carried out the crime have rocked the autism community. Jessica Bethel with Autism Ontario tells 680 News she welcomes the decision, but she's worried about the precedent.
We think the damage has been done, unfortunately. We're very happy that that was not accepted as a legal defense, but there is real concern from the ASD community.
She says others will try to use ASD as a defense, since the judge today said the legal definition technically meets the criteria to be classified as a mental disorder. Traffic and weather coming up in 1 minute.
680 News 1050. COVID continues to be a threat. Burkina's Prayer supports frontline initiatives and reminds you to be safe. If you've been injured due to slip and falls, careless drivers, or if your insurance company has failed to honor its obligations to you, Burkina's Prayer offers skilled and compassionate legal services and free, no-obligation consultations by phone or video 24/7. You are not alone. Bergmanis Prayer Personal Injury Lawyers. You focus on getting better, we'll do the rest. Visit us at bplawyers.ca.
With the Daily Grand Lotto, you can win $1,000 a day for life.
Wait, every single day?
Yeah.
So I'd start liking Mondays?
Probably.
But everybody hates Mondays, so I'd suddenly be an outcast, living on the fringes of society, a bizarre Monday-loving weirdo.
But you get $1,000 every day for life.
You can buy like 10 friends a day.
TGIM, baby, and every other day, too.
The Daily Grand Lotto draws every Monday and Thursday. Buy tickets in store and online at olg.ca.
Time for traffic and weather. Together on the One Series, Craig Gear.
This report is brought to you by AGM Renovations. Construction on the westbound 401 Approaching Kennedy in the Express, you have a couple lanes taken away through here. It's 2 left lanes tonight. Westbound 407 ramp to the westbound 401's blocked, and the westbound Finch ramp onto the northbound 404 closed for the overnight. Southbound 427 at Rathburn, the transfer from Express into the collectors is also blocked, and that's for routine maintenance as well. How about the money you save staying at home, you spend on your home? Increase your living space, finish your basement. Call AGM now and get $5,000 off your new basement. Visit agmrenovations.com. Next report's at 11:01 with the forecast. Here's Natasha Ramsahai.
Temperatures back to or below seasonal until at least Monday. So tonight we're down to -6, wind chill -14. Tomorrow's high just -2, wind chill -8. We may be able to squeeze out a -1 because that sun is getting higher in the sky and it's going to stick around all day tomorrow. A little bit windy. Friday, windier, up to 60 kilometers per hour with increasing cloud. A trace to a centimeter of snow Friday night with a high of -1 during the day. We will be watching to the north for some more significant lake effect snow. And then the weekend, a cloudier day Saturday at -1, sunnier on Sunday and 3 degrees. Tonight we're down to a low of -6, wind chill -14.
Downtown Toronto right now, partly cloudy, 2 degrees, same conditions at Pearson.
This extended forecast is brought to you by Bellier Brothers. Bellier Brothers, experts in heating and cooling older Toronto homes since 1908. To have your furnace or combination boiler serviced, call on Bellier 416-425-1200.
Alpine Credits. Yes, it's your English teacher, Mrs. Nelson.
Uh-oh.
You've been using the word approve quite a lot lately.
True, but
you know there are alternatives like accepted, authorized, confirmed, validated. Let's try. I own my home and would like a loan.
Accepted.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get endorsed, confirmed, permitted, allowed, okayed, and approved. Some conditions apply. Alpine Credits. Fiscal license 12616.
News is always changing. Now more than ever.
Listen 3, 4, 5 times a day.
This is 680 News.
Ask to play us on your smart speaker.
680 News Time, 10:53. After allegations of a toxic work environment, the TTC has now launched an investigation. The Toronto Transit Commission says it's bringing in an external investigator to look into allegations of harassment, favoritism, and improper overtime claims within its special constables unit. 3 employees are now on administrative leave while the review is carried out. It's expected to take 4 months to complete. Detectives are looking at data from the so-called black box of Tiger Woods' SUV to get a clearer picture of what occurred during the Southern California rollover crash last week that seriously injured the golf star. Los Angeles County Sheriff Alex Villanueva says the data could give investigators further clues.
They did a search warrant to seize, in essence, the black box of the vehicle, and that's all it is. And they're going to go through it and see if they can find out what was the performance of the vehicle, what was happening at the time of impact, and with that, they'll have more information they can attribute the cause of the accident.
Wood suffered a serious leg injury when the SUV he was driving went off a Los Angeles County road and rolled over on a downhill stretch. And the NBA says 7 players have tested positive for COVID-19. The athletic team reporting many of those cases are isolated to the Toronto Raptors. The report goes on to say the internal spread may be linked to inconsistent mask wearing from coaching staff. The Raptors were without several players tonight and coaches due to contact tracing. In 60 seconds, we'll check in at the Business Center.
680 News Time, 10:55.
They say respect has to be earned. When nurses are called upon, we answer the call. When patients need our care, we're there for them.
That's an interesting debate and an interesting conversation as well.
All right, we've only got about less than a minute here, Ari. So if you could just sum up for me by telling me what is the likely sentence for John Doe?
Well, this is tough to do in a minute because this would be a fascinating issue to your audience. It used to be the case throughout decades of history that if you killed multiple people, you could still apply for parole after 25 years. The Harper government said, hold on, wait a minute. Isn't every life supposed to matter? The Harper government made it so that every life or parole ineligibility period on the life sentence could be stacked. In other words, kill 2 people, 50 years until you could apply. 3 people, 75 years. That's the way the law has been for a number of years. Just recently, within the last few months, a Quebec Court of Appeal said to not let somebody like Manassian have a chance to breathe the same air in the future as Charles Adler would be cruel and unusual punishment.
I don't think it'd be rude. I've only got a few seconds. Do you think he'll get 10 consecutive life sentences?
Yes, exactly. And the question is that the Supreme Court will decide if the parole ineligibility period can stack for every life to make it longer and harder to get at.
Ari Goldkind, thank you, as always. Appreciate it very much. Criminal lawyer and commentator, Toronto-based Ari Goldkind.
Disney stock up 65% over the past 12 months. Meantime, interesting news from Google. It says it's going to stop selling ads based on your specific web browsing. It's going to stop using third-party cookies. Instead, Google says its ad buying tools will use new technology that it's been developing, which will not collect information on you. On the markets, TSX down 100 points today.
Dans notre quotidien. Et c'est...
Ben, je suis en bonne, très grande partie d'accord avec ce que Michel vient de dire. J'ajouterais ceci.
Correctly, it can be.
Classics.
You could win Tim's Rewards, or coffee, or donuts, or a Fairmont Hotel getaway, or an all-new 2022 Volkswagen
paper by the square.
Play roll up to win starting March 8th on the Tim Hortons app, where every roll wins. No purchase necessary, and 0 Terms apply. Visit rolluptowin.ca for full contest details.
Hi, are you using a filter? Your skin looks amazing.
Nope, just my Beauty Bio Glow Pro from TSC.
I want that glow.
Go to tsc.ca. They have amazing deals every day on our favorite brands.
Is it just fashion and beauty?
Home and electronics, too. I got the Total Gym, and it changed my life.
I'm going to tsc.ca right now.
Shop amazing daily deals with today's showstopper at tsc.ca. Today's shopping choice.
Now, 680 News regional weather conditions for EcoChoice windows and doors. Save 35% off windows and doors. Plus, don't pay for 90 days with EcoChoice windows and doors. There is only one choice. Visit ecochoicewindows.ca.
In Newmarket, +2, mostly cloudy tonight. Richmond Hill, it's +2, mostly cloudy. Brampton, +2, partly cloudy. It's overcast in Milton, and +3. In downtown Toronto, we're sitting at 4 degrees, partly cloudy. It is 2 degrees at Pearson. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. Camille Wilson is at the digital desk, and Enrica Amatoro is our editor this evening. 680 News time, 11 o'clock.
Toronto's #1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News.
It's Wednesday, March 3rd. Good evening. I'm Scott Burnett.
And I'm Caitlin Lee. Here's what's making news this hour.
A massive change to Canada's vaccine rollout. The National Immunization Advisory Panel now says second doses of COVID vaccines can wait up to 4 months.
York Region opening up 2,000 more appointments for those 80 and older to get a COVID-19 vaccination. Sign up, though, begins early tomorrow morning.
Refunds on the way for Air Canada passengers whose flights were canceled or postponed due to the pandemic. That according to the union representing airline workers. Police say a man and woman have been charged with fraud after allegedly scamming landlords and living rent-free for over 10 years.
The Raptors and Blue Jays stumble earlier in the night, but the Leafs finishing off with a win. Sports at 15.
Money losing hump day trade. The THANX falls 100 points. The Dow down 3 times as many. And how Mountain Dew's latest publicity stunt is ruffling feathers in business at 26.
680 news time, 11:01.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Craig here.
This report is brought to you by CAA. Bit of construction on the westbound 401 in the Express approaching Kennedy. Just watch out through there. It's 2 left lanes that are blocked off. And we also have some ramps closed. West 407 ramp to the westbound 401 block. Westbound Finch ramp onto the northbound 404 shut down. There's a transfer closed too. It's on the south 427, the Rathburn and Express to collector transfer. We also have reports of a collision at Bay and Bloor. Driving less, take control of your costs with Canada's only pay-as-you-drive insurance payment program. Visit caamypace.com to learn more. Next report's at 11:11, and with the forecast, here's Natasha Renzai.
Falling temperatures tonight. Could see a few wet flurries off to the north after midnight. We're going to wake up to -6, wind chill -14. So make sure you dress warmer than you did today. It's going to be mainly sunny, a little bit windier with a high of -2, wind chill -8 in the afternoon. Tonight we're down to a low of -6 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, it is +3, partly cloudy. It's +2 in Pearson, feeling like -2 with some clouds. 680 news time, 11:02.
International COVID-19 vaccine guidelines that extend the time that can pass between getting your 2 shots means existing doses can maybe be spread around to more people sooner.
680's Alex Bloomfield joins us with the details from Canada's panel of vaccine experts.
The National Advisory Committee on Immunizations issuing a strong recommendation to extend the dosing interval to 4 months. NACI admits this decision comes in the context of limited supply, but infectious disease specialist Dr. Isaac Bogosh says there is growing consensus on some kind of an extension.
It's how far can you extend that second dose? Now, they picked 4 months based on what they saw. In all fairness, I think it's reasonable. I think it's going to be okay.
There are dissenters. In a tweet, Executive Vice President of Science and Research at the University Health Network, Dr. Brad Wouters, accuses the panel of effectively conducting a population-level experiment given the lack of data. Ontario's Health Ministry welcomes the news, saying it will help the province get more vaccines into arms as quickly as possible. If the new intervals are followed, the panel projects 80% of Canadians over 16 could receive an mRNA vaccine, not to mention AstraZeneca, by the end of June. I'm Alex Bloomfield.
York Region says more vaccination appointments are opening up for residents 80 and up. The online booking portal will start accepting signups for a very limited supply of windows to get a shot tomorrow morning, starting at 8:30. There are just 2,000 spots this go-around. It's just a fraction of the 20,000 bookings that filled up in just 90 minutes on Monday. These new appointments are only available on Thursday and Friday from 10:30 in the morning to 5:30 in the afternoon at Richmond Green Sports Center and Georgina Ice Palace. Residents can book at york.ca/COVID-19 vaccine.
680 news time, 11:04. The Union Uniforce's Air Canada refunds are on the way. It tells 680 News the airline company has agreed to refund passengers who had flights canceled or postponed during the pandemic. A Unifor representative says Air Canada agreed to Ottawa's demands to repay customers who were not reimbursed for their tickets. Air Canada did not directly confirm the news with us, but a spokesperson referred to a February 12th statement indicating discussions with the federal government are ongoing. Unifor represents airline workers at Air Canada, as well as some other airlines in this country, and has been pushing for an aid package for the airline sector.
Toronto's top doctor is on board with stay-at-home orders being lifted for the city, but doesn't believe we're quite ready for the red lockdown zone just yet, advising we should enter the more restrictive gray zone. 680's Phil Martino joins us with the latest as the province reports 958 new cases of COVID and 17 more deaths today.
Dr. Eileen Davila says red is not advisable for Toronto given our COVID-19 case count, but moving out of the stay-at-home order into gray is a reasonable course of action for Toronto.
Returning to the province's framework represents a modest step toward more flexibility in daily life, which can be taken because we've all worked to limit the spread of COVID-19.
Mayor Don Tory says it makes sense to move into gray.
And I believe that this approach, taken in a manner consistent with public health advice, will give us our best chance to move forward into the other framework zone.
Peel Stop Doctor is making the same recommendation for his region, where Brampton's positivity rate is climbing. The Ontario government is expected to announce when and if Toronto, Peel, and North Bay will move to the color-coded system on Friday. I'm Phil Martino.
680 News Time, 11:06. Guilty on all counts. The verdict has been delivered in the 2018 Yonge Street van attack.
It took Justice Anne Malloy almost an hour to deliver her verdict. Did not say that entire time is the attacker's name, saying she did not want to give him the fame and notoriety he was after, only referring to him as John Doe, saying she hopes that people do not say his name going forward. That was never in doubt as to whether he was the one who was behind the wheel that day, because he confessed to police that he planned and carried out the deadly attack, killing 10 people and injuring 16 others. The only thing that had to be decided was whether he should be held criminally responsible, because his lawyer Boris Bytinsky argued that his client did not understand the moral wrongfulness of his actions because of his autism spectrum disorder. But ultimately, that's an argument that did not work on Justice Malloy, who said that Manassian understood the consequence of his actions and what it would mean to other people, and it doesn't matter whether he was able to empathize with his victims, ultimately finding him guilty of 10 counts of first-degree murder and 16 counts of attempted murder. I'm Omen Qureshi.
Reaction is pouring in from both sides of this verdict as well. 680's Mark Douglas has more.
Relieved. Absolutely relieved.
Catherine Riddell is a van attack survivor who suffered life-altering injuries. She says with this verdict, it's a new beginning. And while fighting back her tears, says she doesn't know what comes next, but she will get there. And she hopes to sleep tonight for the first time in a while.
It's not closure, and it's not like I'm not happy. I don't feel like dancing, but I feel like justice has been done.
And then there's the family of van attack murder victim Anne-Marie D'Amico.
They're difficult. Every morning is a bit of a struggle. We're all doing this, sir. I don't know how you adjust to it.
Anne-Marie's brother Nick says hearing the verdict was like being able to breathe again.
It's been 3 years now, days gone by, I haven't thought about it.
And for his family, this verdict can be a fresh start.
This is now our chance to kind of remember our sister and remember all the good times and just not alone.
Outside the University Avenue Courthouse, I'm Mark Douglas.
The Toronto Police Financial Crimes Unit has made 2 arrests in a year-long tenant scam investigation. 680's Madison Fitzpatrick has the details.
Last February, officers began a fraud investigation into an elaborate tenant scam involving multiple properties over the span of 10 years. Police say that a man and woman would move into an apartment paying first and last, but wouldn't pay future rent and utility payments. They then made fake excuses to the landlord-tenant board while landlords went through legal hoops. And after being evicted and still owing payments to their landlords, the couple looked for other properties to repeat the process yet again. On February 24th of this year, 42-year-old Gary Batchelor and 45-year-old Mandy Chappell were arrested and charged each with 7 counts of fraud over $5,000 and 2 counts of false pretense. Police say over 10 years, the couple would have only paid 14 months of rent for about 120 months of accommodation. I'm Madison Fitzpatrick.
680 News Time, 11:09.
Trust 680 News for what you need to know on the coronavirus.
Listen 3, 4, 5 times a day on your radio.
680news.com.
Gas price with the snow.
Play 680 News on your smart speaker.
It's one big prize after another in the Princess Margaret Home Lottery. Don't miss the incredible $7 million grand prize, our world-famous early bird prize, and the $1.3 million Prince Edward County grand prize. Nestled near sandy beaches and picturesque vineyards, this country home is awarded professionally decorated and fully furnished with $25,000 cash. The county is calling. Buy now at princessmargaretlotto.com.
Now the 680 News gas price update. Info says price of gas will drop a cent at midnight to $1.23.9 a liter.
680 News Time, 11:10.
Mix and Match at Sleep Country is back, where we'll match you to the right mix of products, no matter your sleep style. So whether you're a sprawler, a spooner, a sheet snuggler, or a mix of everything in between, experts have seen it all and will help you find the sleep essentials you need. And if you miss Boxing Week, get amazing prices right now on the best brands like a Sealy Eurotop Queen Mattress Hot Buy for only $449. Hurry and Sunday, only at Sleep Country. Sleep well, stay well. Sleep Country.
COVID-19 has come at a cost for many small businesses, but financial support is available from the Government of Ontario. From grants of up to $20,000 for eligible small businesses, to support for purchasing PPE, to rebates for property tax and energy costs. We are working to ensure our small businesses can keep employing people and serving our communities now and when COVID-19 is behind us. Visit ontario.ca/COVID support to apply. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
680 news time, 11:11.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Greg Gear.
Construction on the westbound 401 approaching Kennedy in the Express. We have a couple lanes blocked off, but no real delay going through there anymore. It's looking pretty nice. Westbound 407 ramp onto the westbound 401 is closed. Westbound Finch ramp onto the northbound 404 is blocked. Set 427.
We are definitely flawed. We always, can do better, but we try to promote diversity and pluralism as one of our values. But that's not the value of the Chinese state. And I think anything that doesn't kind of conform to the CCP line is seen as an existential threat. And like I said, although I don't consider myself an expert in the Chinese government per se, I do look at their defense and security documents, and this idea that any kind of difference could be a kind of separatism is definitely there, and it's something that they seek to just absolutely fundamentally exterminate, and not by winning the people over, but by crushing them and in some cases potentially eliminating them.
So I'm looking at some data that does come from an expert, Adrian Zenz, the name, a researcher, an expert on China's ethnic policies. And Zenz says between 2015 and 2018, so a 3-year time frame, and it was a recent 3-year time frame, there were forced sterilizations and abortions, which contributed to an 84% decrease in the natural population growth rate in 2 of the largest Uyghur territories. Stephanie Carbon, is that genocide?
By the international law definition, it is absolutely definite. It constitutes genocide, right? These things are spelled out in the Genocide Convention, as well in other kind of instruments of international law, like the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. They basically describe forced sterilization, anything like that. For example, a lot of if you think back to what happened to the Bosnian women that were in the camps during the war in the former Yugoslavia, there was actually kind of forced impregnation for different reasons. But the idea was that you could, by forcing Bosnian women to have serve babies, that you could eliminate the Bosnian Muslim population. So it was a different strategy, but that was seen as a war crime. So any kind of crime, and people were absolutely charged for it at the International Criminal Tribunal for Yugoslavia. So not only is it seen as a kind of genocide, but we have actually also had international criminal tribunals punish individuals for engaging in these kinds of acts. It is a despicable act. Whatever your stance is on debates about abortion and things like that, I think forcing a woman to into sterilization is abhorrent. It absolutely demeans them, and these reports are incredibly disturbing. And I read that editorial, the one you tweeted out, you read at the beginning of this segment, and I hadn't actually seen that statistic before, the 84% drop in birth rate, but it's harrowing and disturbing, and we should be outraged.
Well, they want to eliminate birth. They want to eliminate the birth rate, period. And 84% is pretty darn close to 100. And they also talk about millions, because very often we hear this term 1 million. But there are many other reports that talk about millions of people in concentration camps. And then, of course, as I mentioned off the top, we got the Chinese ambassador to Canada talking about how this is the greatest lie ever. I mentioned off the top that I think the Chinese ambassador and other people who represent the Chinese government are trying to bully people, in some cases maybe even media people, into not believing what is palpably true. In a moment, I want to question you about that, and whether or not any of us should be listening at all, and whether any of us should give any credit at all to anyone representing the Communist government of China. In a moment, our conversation with Stephanie Carlton of Carlton continues. She's a national security expert, worked in Canadian national security for a number of years, and now she teaches, and tonight she's teaching us on Charles Antler tonight.
Never thought of yourself as a disruptor? A member of a movement. Buying physical gold and silver is exactly that. It's like taking control of your financial debt.
By that date?
So, how did you sleep last night? Not great? Again? Ditch the tossing and turning for some better sleep with Sleep Great from Healthology. Sleep Great helps speed up the time it takes to fall asleep and is used in herbal medicine as a sleep aid to temporarily promote relaxation. Sleep Great can be found at your local health food store or visit myhealthology.ca for more information. This product may not be right for you. Always read and follow the label.
Love the thrill of a real mystery? Then you'll love the podcasts available from CBC, like Brainwashed.
Their objective was to wipe my memory.
Evil by Design.
Peter Nygaard is the most prolific sexual offender to date.
Uncover, Escaping Nexium.
What is mind control? Was it possible that someone could control someone else's mind?
And someone knows something.
There was a scream and felt like that.
Listen to critically acclaimed true crime podcasts from CBC. Available now on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
680 News Time, 11:17.
The ICC is launching a war crimes probe into Israeli practices in the Palestinian territories.
The International Criminal Court is opening an investigation into alleged crimes in the Palestinian territories. The focus will be on Israeli military actions and Israeli settlement construction on lands captured in the 1967 Mideast War. In a videotaped statement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the state of Israel is under attack this evening. At the State Department, spokesman Ned Price:
"We will continue to uphold our strong commitment and its security.
Israel does not belong to nor recognize the ICC's authority. Although they have no state, the Palestinians joined the ICC in 2015 by virtue of their non-member observer status in the UN General Assembly." Mike Garcia, Washington.
Peel's Homicide and Missing Persons Bureau has taken over the investigation of a shooting death of a 22-year-old Brampton man. Officers say Elijah Charles Gregory died today in hospital after being shot back on February 25th. They say emergency crews were called to the Delphinium Way and Iceland Poppy Trail area near McLaughlin and Mayfield just after 2 in the morning last week for reports of gunfire. When they arrived, they found Charles Gregory suffering from life-threatening gunshot wounds. He died in hospital today. Anyone with information on security footage from that area being asked to contact investigators or Crime Stoppers. Toronto's police chief calling today's verdict in the North York van attack a step forward in what has been a long and painful case that impacted our entire city. James Raymer says the finding of guilt may allow our community to try to turn a page to focus on healing together. He says the effects of that day 3 years ago have stayed with the families and friends of those who were murdered or injured and have stayed with those who witnessed the horrific scene, as well as first responders. And Autism Ontario is also welcoming this verdict, but Director Jessica Bethel is concerned about the damage it's already done.
We thought we were making progress, but unfortunately, if you listen closely to Justice Malloy this morning, she says the legal definition of ASD meets the criteria to be classified as a mental disorder, which actually has potential for future instances of autism as a defense. So we really are concerned that there's a further stigmatization of people with autism.
Autism Canada has also issued a statement thanking Justice Malloy for understanding that autism was not on trial, but rather a man who committed a heinous crime who happens to have autism. Here with Home News Radio 680 News at 11:19, the New York City Bar Association called today for a serious investigation into former President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani.
The New York City Bar Association said the complaints about Rudy Giuliani that stem from his work to overturn the results of the presidential election appear to be substantiated by extensive evidence, including Giuliani's own words.
Let's have trial by combat.
His speech on the ellipse January 6th and other attempts to subvert the election, the complaint said, are part of a pattern of misconduct that the Bar Association said requires a serious investigation. If those complaints are substantiated, the association said the courts should impose appropriate discipline. Aaron Katersky, ABC News, New York.
Coming up in 60 seconds, traffic and your extended forecast.
680 News Time, 11:20.
At jackpotcity.net, you can do amazing things with just one casino chip. Discover a world of amazing things with just one casino chip.
Professor Carbon, about the Chinese ambassador to Canada and other members of the Chinese government who want the world to believe that none of this is true, that there is no genocide, there are no forced generalizations, there is no forced assimilation of the Uyghurs, that this is not actually happening. Are they bullying people, including people in the government, media people, other people with influence in this country? Are they effective at bullying people off the position that there is a genocide taking place in China?
Well, the ambassador understands he has one job, and he does it fairly well, which is not to really engage in a conversation, but to just kind of parrot Beijing talking points loudly, and that's kind of it. So, you know what? He did his job today. That was his job. He did it. But, no, I mean, so we have to realize that when he's speaking, he's not speaking to us. He's speaking to Beijing, and, you know, there'll be reports in the Chinese media, I'm sure, tomorrow that, you know, the ambassador explains to Canada our position and how unreasonable the Canadians are being. And that will be the news story, right? So in some ways, you know, when they make these statements, we have to realize that we're not necessarily the audience. He's speaking back home. So I think that's the first thing. But my answer to the ambassador is, look, this is a fairly easy problem to solve, and just listen journalism, right? And not on one of your little state-led Potemkin tours. I mean, let's let in real journalism. So all we have seen from China this year is them clamping down further on Western journalists in China because they don't want these stories being told. They didn't want the COVID story being told. They don't want the Hong Kong story being told. They definitely don't want the Uyghur genocide being told. And as a result, we're seeing more and more harassment of foreign correspondents. The BBC was kicked out. And, you know, so, you know, if there's nothing to hide, why can't we see it? Why can't we see these things? But, you know, it just goes as, you know, press freedom is not really for China, and probably not for the Olympics either, but that's a whole other story.
Is it helpful to the Uyghurs that the representatives of Canada's national government only talks about reports of genocide that Canada is looking into? Is that of any assistance at all to the Uyghurs in China?
So, yeah, I mean, this is tough because, you know, the government of Canada we're still in a pandemic. We're still highly dependent on PPE from China and all these things. And I understand the difficulties and sensitivities that go with a government, a cabinet, a prime minister making such a statement. So let's just put that out there. At the same time, it is extraordinarily disingenuous when you have national leaders say things like, oh, well, we're still reviewing the data, or, you know, we're still looking into this. I mean, it's been looked into. This is not a problem of data. So this is a problem of our supply chain dependencies and things like this. So, yeah, it's extremely, the Uyghurs are not well served when I think our leaders say things like, oh, well, we're looking into reports and, you know, the data's not there yet. That's just not correct. That's not the issue. If you want to make an argument about it being hard, about obligations, what happens when we revoke genocide, fair enough. It's a tricky issue and a loaded term in international politics. I think there's reasons why we use it. And certainly, to my mind, what's happening in Xinjiang is almost certainly tantamount to genocide. But yeah, you know, we don't have in Canada, and this is something I think is increasingly concerning because it's not just China that's doing this, but other countries as well. They're targeting the Uyghur diaspora in Canada, and there's not a lot of places for these individuals to go, right? You know, they say, well, we're reporting to the police, but, you know, what is the police supposed to do? We need to put in place stricter measures for when embassies or consulates are, you know, kind of hiding behind their diplomatic status to engage in clandestine foreign influence activities to attack Uyghurs in Canada, or to kind of, you know, engage in you know, disinformation campaigns on these issues. We can have conversations about these issues, but that's not what we're seeing right now. So, you know, we need not only
Professor Carbon, we're going to do more on this down the road. No, that's all right. There's always a clock. We're always We're always fighting it, and we're always losing the battle. The clock is the master here. Stephanie Carbon, thank you very much for your help, as always.
Largest selection of waterproof flooring. Come in now for great savings on all waterproof flooring, starting from $2.99 a square feet.
Concrete. With the ultimate in waterproof flooring, go with concrete and AstroTurf. I'm gonna renovate a condo. I'm gonna renovate a condo with like duct tape, AstroTurf. What else could we use? Just keep putting more weight on top. Yeah, well. Use the extra minutes.
Here comes the end of your life. Hollow points cutting through you like the edge of a knife. It's getting harder to see. Step away from the light, cause I'm the devil in disguise.
The demon is a liar. He will like to confuse us. But he will also mix lies with the truth to attack us. The attack is psychological, powerful. So don't listen. Do not listen.
This is real life shit, can't change it for an instant. Blood, sweat, and tears, now everyone's against it. Trying to step in our way, man, your ass will get popped. Got homies on every corner, none afraid to get shot. You hear it drop. Here comes the end of your life. Hollow points cutting through you like the edge of a knife. It's getting harder to see. Step away from the light, cause I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. What? I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. What? Yeah, I stole your soul tonight. Devil in disguise. Stole your soul tonight. As you wake up in the dark and not realizing I'm there, go ahead and reach for the light. You won't find one there. This is the darkness inside. Mixed with the pain that you feel. Hear the voices calling out another soul to conceal. You see the tears in the eyes. That's what's causing the pain. Staring at yourself blindly, can't remember the name. Call me whatever you like, but let it be told I'm the devil in disguise and the possessor of souls. The possessor of souls, the devil in disguise, yeah, possessor of souls. The possessor of souls, I'll be the devil in disguise, the possessor of souls. The possessor of souls, I'll be the devil in disguise, the possessor of souls. The possessor of souls, devil in disguise, the possessor of souls. Feel the pain in your chest, yeah, that's me coming back, being possessed by the devil. It's the life that I have, a possessor of souls, another light in the dark. Hear the footsteps in the night, now your ass is in shock. Go ahead and hide, try to make no sound. I know your every thought and action, so you're bound to be found. I'm getting closer. Can you feel my presence here? Cause I'm the devil in disguise, the only person you fear. The only person you fear, I'll be the devil in disguise, the only person you fear. The only person you fear, I'll be the devil in disguise, the only person you fear. The only person you fear, I'll be the devil in disguise, the only person you fear. What? Yeah, the only person you fear, devil in disguise, the only person you fear. I'm in control of your life, I'm the voice in your pain, I'm the hate in your heart, and the sin in your brain. I'm the death of your dreams, and the loss of your life. I'm the tempted thought of slicing your wrist with a knife. There's no escaping the voice, no turning the time. Your soul is already lost, and I'm making it mine. I'm the devil in disguise, I can take up any form. I'm the feeling of fear when you're feeling alone.
Cast you out! Unclean spirit out! In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ! It is He who commands you! He who fills you! Thanks of heaven! The Son of hell! Fuck him! Be gone! Fuck him, Garrett! This creature is gone! Be gone! In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit!
Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. I love the rain when it falls, yeah, I'm blessed. Fuck the fame and the cars and the jets. I had them thinking I was gone to the psych ward. I never left to live a life you would die for. Tell out who I can't save her, I'm no lifeguard. Maybe you can get the deed, but I might charge. Pull up to the spot, they're like, who is that there? Hands up, give me the loot like a cashier. What you thought, are you dumb? I don't play shit. I killed you and your brother with the same clip. Kind of bullshit you been talking, boys, ain't you? I'm a different man now, leave your faces. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Yo, versus spot, then I'm leaving unidentified. Just a rental, had to drop it off at Enterprise. Shell casings in the whip, had to check it twice. I think my OGs for that shit, they give good advice. Yeah, this about to be a genocide. These motherfuckers want me dead, but I can never die. I'm the reason why your wifey said she met a guy. 2 minutes and a push it just to get inside. Yeah. We are not the same kind. You gotta pay dues, I already paid twice. Y'all don't make moves, all you do is waste time. I'ma always be woke while you haters stay blind. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest.
So if I was on Mars, what do they do? You need 2 buttons.
Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. I love the rain when it falls, yeah, I'm blessed. Fuck the fame and the cars and the jets. I had them thinking I was gone to the psych ward. I never left to live a life you would die for. Tell out who I can't save her, I'm no lifeguard. Maybe you can get the deed, but I might charge. Pull up to the spot, they're like, who is that there? Hands up, give me the loot like a cashier. What you thought, are you dumb? I don't play shit. I killed you and your brother with the same clip. All that bullshit you been talking, boys, ain't you? I'm a different man now, leave your faces. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Yo, versus spot, then I'm leaving unidentified. Just a rental, had to drop it off at Enterprise. Shell casings in the whip, had to check it twice. I think my OGs for that shit, they give good advice. Yeah, this about to be a genocide. These motherfuckers want me dead, but I can never die. I'm the reason why your wifey said she met a guy. 2 minutes and a push it just to get inside. Yeah. We are not the same kind. You gotta pay dues, I already paid twice. Y'all don't make moves, all you do is waste time. I'ma always be woke while you haters stay blind. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it. Yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Watch the Senate, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it. Yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it. Yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Watch the Senate, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it. Yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. I love the rain when it falls down blessed. The pain in the cause of the chest. I had to take another guard to the psych ward. I never left another life to the God for. I don't know, I can't stay where I'm the lifeguard. Maybe you can get the deed with a mic charge. I feel like my hands up in the loop like a cashier. What you thought? I'm dumb, hype to that shit. Like you and your brother with the same clip. I thought you was telling me the adventure. I'm a different man now, leave face. I said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sitting, I'm winning. They don't like it. Yeah, I bet. See the pain in their heart and their chest. I said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sitting, I'm winning. They don't like it. Yeah, I bet. See the pain in their heart and their chest. Yo, rush the spot, then I'm leaving unidentified. Just a rental, had to drop it off at Enterprise. Shell cases in the wet, had to check it twice.
Last February, officers began a fraud investigation into an elaborate tenant scam impacting property owners throughout the Toronto area, which police believe went on for almost 10 years. Police say that a man and woman moved into 8 different properties since 2010. Each time they moved into a property, they would stop paying rent, and property owners were then forced to evict them. The couple would then provide a number of excuses, including loss of employment, in order to prolong the eviction. But once they were evicted, the man and woman still owed payments to landlords while they looked for other properties to repeat the process yet again. On February 24th of this year, 42-year-old Gary Batchelor and 45-year-old Mandy Chappell were arrested and charged each with 7 accounts of fraud, over $5,000, and 2 counts of false pretense. I'm Madison Fitzpatrick.
Several players in the NBA have tested positive for COVID-19, with reports saying that the Toronto Raptors are seeing the most of those cases. Brent Gunning of Sportsnet 590, The Fan, has details including what happened during tonight's interesting game.
The NBA has 7 new COVID cases in the league, and according to Sean Serenia of The Athletic, several of those come from the Raptors. Now, that shouldn't come as too much of a surprise, given that head coach Nick Nurse and several members of the coaching staff have missed the last 2 games. On top of that, in a loss to the Pistons, the Raptors were without 5 players because of the league's COVID protocols. It is important to note that there are several reasons why a player or coach can end up in the protocols outside of a positive test. The game against the Pistons was initially slated for Tuesday before being pushed back a day. For Sportsnet 590 The Fan, I'm Brent Gunning.
The gas price update is next.
680 News Time, 11:39.
Make your next career move with 2 men in a truck. The company is hiring motivated and enthusiastic team members for mover, driver, and customer service positions. And if you're looking for more, professional advancement is always a possibility. In fact, 75% of 2 men in a truck managers started in frontline positions. Now is the time to apply.
They're not decreasing, and they'll remain at their current levels at least until June. So we need that to continue, but we, I think, also need to do a better job of encouraging more sales, because businesses continue to rack up debt, governments are racking up debt, and this is just not. It's not sustainable. I mean, we don't want to. Be in the same position next year at this time.
So the government today said that the subsidies for individuals and businesses would continue until June. Does the CFIB, which is what you represent, you're an executive with the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, does your organization have a position on the government's extension today?
Yeah, we were pleased to see the extension of the existing formula for the subsidies to do. In fact, we're saying that there needs to be some subsidies in place until we can eliminate the restrictions on businesses, and that includes reopening the border. So until businesses can really get back to doing business, we need to keep those subsidies in place. And again, I think that underscores why we need to start being more creative about how we can open things up again safely. And British Columbia is a good model for this. They've done, I think, a much better job than Ontario in keeping things more open, and that's been much easier on small business. But also, that's had, I think, positive. That has other positive ripples that are harder to quantify, but on people's mental health. And I mentioned date night. Certainly, that helps keep me sane.
Did you enjoy date night, Laura?
I did enjoy date night. Too few of them. Maybe my husband's listening, and so we'll make sure we do it again.
I'm always looking for some positive needles in this very, very difficult haystack that we call COVID-19. So if Laura and her husband had a positive date night, I'll take it. We'll continue our conversation in just a few moments. We're going to talk about the border that Laura referenced just a few moments ago, and the possibility of the border with the United States opening at some point. Much of this, of course, has to do with vaccines. If you're part of small business, you're part of this story, and it's speaking to you. Talk back to us, would you? What are your thoughts on the current situation that you're involved in as a person involved in small business, and how you see the future, near term and long term? I'd love to get
your perspective. On the street in front of your own store and tell the cops to fuck off because you can't. You can't sit here and beg and own this fucking place.
Let's have a date night here with some small business people.
That's all it's going to be. Then you're going to have whatever shootings over who's going to hold what stretch of highway, where the Ubers can park, and where the lifts can take up and drop off.
Let's face it, if you've lost your job, you have questions. But before you call an employment lawyer, go to the free pocketemploymentlawyer.ca. Answer a few simple questions to learn more about your employment rights. Go to Pocket Employment Lawyer.
So if they can't fire me since I didn't work there, essentially I do work there, they just don't know it yet, right? And so they owe me money for a while, right? How long have I worked there? Basically as long as I feel like I worked there, right?